At 34, I stood at the edge of a dream I'd nurtured for years. A trip to Greece that promised to mend the frayed edges of my soul. As a senior creative director at a Chicago advertising agency, my life was a whirlwind of 60-hour weeks, back-to-back campaigns, and a burnout that clung to me like a shadow. My apartment, a sleek high-rise overlooking Lake Michigan, was filled with travel journals brimming with notes on the Acropolis, Santorini's blue domes, and Crete's ancient ruins. For 2 years, I'd saved every spare dollar, skipping dinners out and new shoes, to fund this $5,000 journey, a non-refundable leap of faith. But when my sister Rebecca announced her Disney World trip with her 3 kids on the exact same dates, my family expected me to cancel, to bend as I always had. This time, I chose myself, sparking a conflict that would test every boundary I'd never dared to set. I'd love to know what dream you're holding on to, as I share how mine set my world ablaze. Growing up in the Chicago suburbs, our family was close but lopsided, a dynamic where Rebecca, 3 years older, shone as the golden child, while Allison, was the steady one, always adjusting to others' needs. Our parents, Barbara and Richard, never said outright that Rebecca's wants came first, but their choices did. When I was 15, they canceled our Lake Michigan beach vacation because Rebecca's cheerleading camp overlapped, leaving me to spend the summer babysitting her friends' siblings. At 22, my college graduation, a cum laude honor, was overshadowed by Rebecca's baby shower. My ceremony barely a footnote as Mom fussed over nursery decor. When Grandma died, I handled the funeral logistics alone. Rebecca's tears deemed too heavy for such tasks. These weren't just moments, they were a pattern. One where my time, as the single, childless sister, was seen as infinitely flexible. My career in marketing was my refuge, a place where my creativity and grit earned respect. At Vantage Agency, I'd climbed to senior creative director, leading campaigns for Fortune 500 clients. My office, a corner suite with views of the Chicago River. But the cost was steep chronic insomnia, tension headaches, and a burnout that no yoga class could soothe. My annual physical last fall was a wake-up call. Your blood pressure's alarming for 34, Dr. Thompson said, her brow furrowed. Cortisol levels like yours signal chronic stress. You're on a path to serious health issues. Days later, Megan, our HR director, called me in, her tone firm. You've got 3 years of unused vacation. Allison, it's a liability for us. Take 2 weeks off before June, or I'll mandate it. That night, I dusted off my travel journal, its pages a mosaic of Greek dreams, Parthenon sketches, Santorini sunset photos, Crete's Minoan history. This wasn't just a trip, it was a lifeline. Planning Greece was a labor of love. I crafted a 14-day itinerary, Athens for the Acropolis and Plaka's cobblestone charm, Santorini for its caldera views, Crete for the Palace of Knossos and quiet beaches. I booked family-run hotels, their balconies promising sea breezes, and prepaid $2,000 in non-refundable deposits for tours and ferries. I practiced Greek phrases kalimera, epharisto, on a language app, my voice echoing in my apartment's silence. Samantha, my best friend since college, was my cheerleader, her hazel eyes sparkling over coffee at our favorite Loop Cafe. You're finally doing this, Allison, she said, squeezing my hand. After all you've given up, you deserve it. Her words bolstered me as I prepared to share my plans with my family, a step I knew would stir the undercurrents of our dynamic. Sunday dinner at my parents' suburban ranch was a ritual, the table set with Mom's lasagna and Dad's dry humor. I arrived with a bottle of Greek wine and printouts of my itinerary. My heart light with anticipation. I'm going to Greece in May, I said, passing the pages. Athens, Santorini, Crete 2 weeks. Mom smiled thinly, her enthusiasm forced. That's nice, honey. Dad, peering over his glasses, asked about solo travel risks, his concern more cautionary than curious. Rebecca's reaction was a red flag. Her smile froze as I described a Santorini sunset cruise, her hands suddenly busy cutting her son's food. That's so far, she said, her tone sharp, eyes flicking to Mom. I'd miss my kids too much. The glance they shared, quick and loaded, set my nerves on edge. But I brushed it off, driving home under Chicago's neon glow, my dream intact. A week later, Mom's call for an impromptu family dinner raised my guard. At their dining table, Rebecca unveiled her news with a flourish. Mickey Mouse ears for her kids. Emma, Jake, and Lily. We're going to Disney World. May 17 to 31, she announced, her voice brimming with triumph. The ultimate family vacation. The dates overlapped my Greece trip exactly. A coincidence too precise to be chance. My parents beamed, Dad toasting to magical memories, Mom gushing about experiencing Disney with the kids. No one acknowledged my conflict, the silence heavy with assumption. I'd cancel, as always, because Rebecca's family of 4 outweighed my solo plans. I sat quietly, the lasagna turning to ash in my mouth, my mind racing. This wasn't an oversight, it was a calculated challenge, a dynamic where my dreams were collateral. The pressure began that night. At midnight, Mom called, her voice low. Allison, this Disney trip is so important for the kids, she said. Emma's struggling with her parents' divorce, and Jake and Lily deserve this. We're not young forever. How many family vacations do we promise? She paused, then added, Rebecca's deposits are non-refundable. It'd crush them if you're not there. Before I could reply, she hung up. By morning, Dad weighed in. Family traditions matter. Allison, think of the kids' memories. My phone buzzed with texts from my nieces and nephew. Their words oddly uniform, please come. Aunt Allison, we need you. Clearly coached. Aunt Bethany and Uncle Robert called, urging me to be there for Rebecca, their tone implying my plans were frivolous. A group text, excluding me, strategized, with Cousin Laura forwarding their words. Make Allison see she's being selfish. Chamino. I tried to find a middle ground. Calling Rebecca, I offered compromises. Funding a pre-trip water park day, bringing Greek gifts, or planning a post-trip adventure. I've paid $2,000 in deposits, I said, my voice steady. Canceling means losing it all. Her reply was icy. Family means sacrifice. Allison, it's about being there. My suggestions. FaceTime tours from Greece, partial Disney funding were dismissed. Her stance clear. Cancel. Or nothing. The pressure was a vice, tightening daily. Each call a reminder of my role as the flexible one, expected to bend until I broke. Samantha's perspective was a lifeline, her bluntness over coffee cutting through my doubt. This is manipulation. Allison, she said, stirring her latte. Rebecca planned this to control you. If she cared about family, she'd have checked your dates. At work, Jessica, a colleague who'd faced similar family tactics, nodded in recognition. My sister pulled the same stunt, she said, her lunch untouched. They count on guilt to keep you in line. Their words echoed in my therapy session with Dr. Patel, a psychiatrist I'd seen for anxiety. Your family's resisting change, she said, her office a calm harbor. You're cast as the supporter, but your trip threatens that role. This is about power. We role-played responses I understand, but my choice is final, building my resolve. Sitting on my balcony, Chicago's skyline aglow. I journaled 3 pages of sacrifices, canceled plans, overlooked milestones, unacknowledged efforts, the cost health, dreams. Resentment was too high. As the sun rose, I texted my parents and Rebecca. I need to speak with you tonight. 7 p.m. Arriving at their house, I faced a united front. Mom's tight smile, Dad's crossed arms, Rebecca's prim posture, with Dr. Patel's guidance. I spoke calmly. I love you, but I'm not canceling Greece. I've planned this for 2 years, paid deposits, and need this for my health. My decision is final. The room erupted. Mom's gasp, Dad's threat, Rebecca's accusations, but I held firm, leaving with my heart pounding, knowing this was just the beginning. The decision to hold firm on my Greece trip at 34-year-old ignited a firestorm in my family, one that revealed the fault lines of a dynamic I'd long accepted but could no longer endure. In my Chicago apartment, with its view of Lake Michigan's restless waves, I clung to the dream of Greece, Athens' ancient stones, Santorini's azure domes, Crete's quiet shores as a lifeline against the mounting pressure to cancel. My sister Rebecca's Disney World trip, deliberately scheduled to clash with my May 15 to 29 plans, was a gauntlet thrown, and my parents, Barbara and Richard, rallied behind her, expecting me, the childless, flexible Allison, to yield. But this time, I stood my ground, a choice that tested every ounce of my courage and set the stage for a battle over boundaries I'd never dared to draw. I'd love to hear how you've faced family expectations as I share how I fought to keep my dream alive. The days after my announcement at my parents' house were a relentless campaign to break my resolve. Mom's midnight call was just the beginning, her voice a mix of pleading and guilt. Allison, think of Emma's struggles, of Jake and Lily's excitement. Rebecca's deposits are set. How could you miss this? Dad followed at dawn, his tone gruff over coffee's hiss in my kitchen. Family comes first. Allison, these are memories for a lifetime. My phone buzzed with texts from my nieces and nephew. Their words eerily rehearsed. Aunt Allison, please come to Disney. It won't be fun without you. Clearly scripted by Rebecca. Aunt Bethany called, her voice syrupy with concern. Rebecca needs you. Dear, single people have more wiggle room, don't they? Uncle Robert echoed. Don't let a trip come between family. A group text, which cousin Laura secretly forwarded, strategized. She's being stubborn, but we'll make her see sense. Chicago spring was a gray blur, the Loop's skyscrapers looming as I navigated this onslaught. My role at Vantage Agency, where I led high-stakes campaigns, demanded focus, but family calls bled into my work. During a pitch meeting, my phone vibrated with a voicemail from Mom. Your father's blood pressure is up. Allison, this stress isn't helping. I silenced it, my colleague Jessica catching my eye with a knowing nod. Over lunch at a Michigan Avenue deli, she shared her own story. My sister scheduled her wedding on my graduation weekend, she said, picking at her sandwich. They bank on guilt to control you. Her words fortified me, a reminder I wasn't alone. Therapy with Dr. Patel became my anchor. In her Lakeview office, with its soft light and jasmine diffuser, we dissected the family's tactics. This is emotional blackmail, she said, her voice calm but firm. They're using guilt, shame, and the kids to maintain a hierarchy where Rebecca's needs trump yours. We practiced responses. I love you, but my decision is final, and explored my role as the family's fixer. You've been conditioned to prioritize their happiness. Dr. Patel said, "This trip is you reclaiming your worth." At home, I journaled, listing sacrifices. The beach vacation I lost at 15, my ignored graduation, the Christmas. I drove through a snowstorm only to find the date changed. The pages, stained with tears, showed a life bent to others' whims. The pressure peaked 2 weeks later with an ambush disguised as a casual family dinner. Arriving at my parents' suburban ranch, I found not just Mom, Dad, and Rebecca, but Grandma Helen, Aunts Bethany and Patricia, Uncle Robert, and cousins, a tribunal of 12. Their faces a mix of concern and judgment. Mom opened, her tone clinical. "We're worried about your choices. Allison, family comes first, and your absence at Disney is selfish." Grandma Helen, her voice frail, sighed, "You'd choose old rocks over your blood." Aunt Patricia suggested I was unstable, while Rebecca, tears streaming, played the martyr. "My kids will be heartbroken." "Allison, how could you do this?" The room closed in, their words a chorus of control, each voice reinforcing my role as the one who bends. I stood, heart racing, Dr. Patel's training steadying me. "I hear you," I said, my voice calm despite the tremor in my hands. "But I'm not canceling Greece. I've paid 2,000 in deposits, planned for 2 years, and need this for my health. I love you, but my choice is final." The silence was deafening. Then Mom gasped, "After all we've done." Dad's face reddened. "Choices have consequences." "Allison." Rebecca's voice rose. "You're jealous of my kids. Always have been." As I moved to leave, she grabbed her phone, typing furiously. "Everyone will know how you've betrayed us," she hissed. By the time I reached my car, her Facebook post was live. "Heartbroken that some choose vacations over family. Pray for my kids, who learned their aunt loves islands more than them." Samantha's Cafe, a cozy spot in Wicker Park, was my refuge the next morning. Over lattes, I poured out the intervention's sting. "They ambushed you to maximize shame," she said, her voice fierce. "Rebecca planned Disney to trap you. She didn't check your dates because she didn't care." Samantha's own story setting boundaries with her demanding mother gave me strength. "The guilt fades," she promised, "once they see you won't budge." At work, Jessica offered support, inviting me to a team happy hour at a rooftop bar overlooking the Chicago River. "You're rewriting the rules," she said, clinking her glass to mine. "It's hard, but it's worth it." Dr. Patel's emergency session that evening was pivotal. "This is a narcissistic family system," she explained, sketching a diagram of roles. "Rebecca's the favored child. You're the scapegoat. Your trip challenges their control." We role-played responses to Rebecca's post, settling on silence over defense. "Don't engage," Dr. Patel advised. "Protect your peace." That night, on my balcony, city lights twinkling, I made a choice. I texted my family, "I love you, but I need space from this conflict. I'll limit contact until after Greece," hoping we can reconnect with respect. Muting their notifications, I felt a weight lift. The silence a shield. Preparing for Greece became my focus, a defiance of their expectations. I finalized bookings ferry tickets to Santorini, a Knossos tour in Crete, each click a step toward freedom. At home, I packed, folding linen dresses and a journal for reflections. My apartment's quiet, a contrast to the family's noise. Work offered balance. I pitched a Greek-inspired campaign, its mythology themes earning client praise. "You're glowing," my boss, Rachel, said, noting my focus. "Greece is already good for you. Samantha joined me for a Greek cooking class in Andersonville, where we laughed over tzatziki. Her support a constant. "You're breaking chains," she said, and I nodded. Tasting freedom in the olive oil's bite, the emotional toll lingered, though late nights brought doubt had I been too harsh. Was I the selfish one? Dr. Patel's words echoed. Their reactions aren't your responsibility. Laura's updates kept me grounded. Her texts revealing Rebecca's social media jabs. Family fun at Disney prep, blessed by those who show up. Mom commented, "Some never learned loyalty." The narrative painted me as unhinged. But Chicago's pulse, its jazz clubs, lakefront trails, and bustling L trains reminded me of my strength. I ran along Lakeshore Drive, the water's rhythm syncing with my resolve, each step a promise to myself. As May approached, the family's silence grew colder, their disapproval a shadow. Yet, my Greece plans shone brighter, a beacon of self-worth. I stood in my apartment, travel journal open, and whispered, "This is for me." The fight wasn't over Rebecca's posts. Mom's guilt. Dad's threats loomed, but I was ready, armed with boundaries and a dream that refused to bend. The road to Greece was paved with courage, and I was determined to walk it, no matter the cost. As May's dawn broke over Chicago, painting Lake Michigan in hues of gold, I stood at the threshold of my dream trip to Greece, a journey that had become a battleground for my autonomy. At 34, a marketing executive burned out by 60-hour weeks and family expectations, I'd held firm against my sister Rebecca's demand to cancel my carefully planned May 15 to 29 vacation to join her Disney World trip. My parents, Barbara and Richard, had rallied behind her. Their pressure guilt trips, interventions, and social media shaming testing boundaries I was only beginning to set. Limiting contact had shielded me, but as I prepared to board my flight, the weight of their disapproval threatened to unravel my resolve. This was my moment to step into freedom, to claim 2 weeks for myself after decades of bending. I'd love to hear about a time you chased a dream against the odds, as I share how Greece began to reshape my soul. The weeks before departure were a blur of defiance and doubt. In my high-rise apartment, I packed with care linen dresses, a travel journal, sunscreen each item, a rebellion against my family's narrative that I was selfish. Chicago spring buzzed outside, the loop streets alive with food trucks and tulip beds. But my phone, unmuted for logistics, carried their voices. Mom's final text before I left. "Your father's stressed. Allison, I hope you don't regret this." Rebecca's was sharper. "The kids made you a Disney card, but I told them you don't care." I blocked their numbers temporarily. Dr. Patel's advice echoing, "Protect your peace." Yet, guilt gnawed. Years of conditioning whispering. I was wrong to choose myself. Samantha was my rock, joining me for a farewell brunch at a Wicker Park cafe, its patio blooming with petunias. "You're rewriting your story," she said, her coffee steaming. "They'll survive Disney without you." At work, my Greek-inspired campaign won client praise, boosting my confidence. Jessica, my colleague, slipped me a travel guide for Athens. "You've got this," she said. Her smile warmed during a break by the Chicago River. Dr. Patel's final session reinforced my resolve. "You're not abandoning family," she said, her Lakeview office a sanctuary. "You're honoring your needs." We practiced breathing exercises for anxiety, preparing me for the journey's emotional weight. The morning of May 15th, I zipped my suitcase, its weight a promise of freedom, and took an Uber to O'Hare Airport, Chicago's skyline fading behind me. At check-in, my heart raced. The reality of defying my family hitting hard. Their absence, no good luck texts. No calls felt like a cold wind. I excused myself to a bathroom stall, where panic gripped me, heart pounding, vision narrowing, breath shallow. Years of people-pleasing had wired me to see my choice as betrayal. As I gasped, a voice called over the stall, soft but concerned. "Honey, are you okay?" Emerging, trembling. I met Eleanor, a silver-haired woman with kind eyes, waiting by the sinks. Eleanor sat with me on a bench outside the restroom, her presence calming. Without prying, she shared her story, leaving an abusive marriage at 50, facing family scorn. "The guilt nearly broke me," she said, her voice steady. "But 3 years later, it's the best choice I made. The hardest steps save us." Her words, simple yet profound, steadied me. As my flight was called, I thanked her, boarding with renewed resolve, her kindness a beacon. The plane's ascent over Lake Michigan felt like a release, Chicago's grid shrinking. My family's hold loosening with each mile. Landing in Athens was a revelation. The air carried orange blossoms and sea salt, the sunlight a golden veil that made the city glow. My hotel, a family-run inn in Plaka, had a balcony overlooking cobblestone streets, bougainvillea spilling over whitewashed walls. Dropping my bags, I stepped into Athens, the city's pulse vendors calling, scooters humming, wrapping me in possibility. My first morning, I stood before the Parthenon, its marble columns bathed in dawn's honeyed light. Tears welled as I traced the stone's weathered grooves, history's weight grounding me. My guide, Nikos, a wiry man with a warm smile, noticed. "The Greeks believed in catharsis," he said, "a cleansing through beauty. Perhaps this is yours." Athens was a feast for my senses. I wandered the ancient agora, imagining Socrates debating under olive trees, my fingers brushing sun-warmed ruins. At a monastiraki taverna, I savored tzatziki and dolmades, the olive oil so fresh it redefined flavor. Street musicians played bouzouki, their notes mingling with laughter. Strangers sharing ouzo shots. I journaled nightly, not just sights, but feelings lighter. Bolder. Myself. I'm here. I wrote. The Acropolis glowing outside my window. I chose me. Yet, Laura's updates, sent discreetly, kept my family's shadow close. Rebecca's posts showed her kids in Mickey ears. Magic Kingdom. Joy with those who care. Mom commented. Family means showing up. Their narrative, I was unstable. Selfish stung. But Athens' ancient resilience dulled its edge. Samantha's texts were a lifeline, her humor cutting through. You're sipping wine by ruins while they're sweating in Florida. Who's winning? Jessica sent workplace updates. My campaign's success a boost. Dr. Patel's emailed exercises journal prompts. Affirmations kept me grounded. I am enough, I repeated. The Parthenon's silhouette. My witness. A chance encounter enriched my days. At a Plaka cafe, I met Lena, a Swedish artist traveling solo after a career pivot. Over baklava, we bonded over defying expectations. My family wanted me to stay a lawyer, she said, her blonde braid catching the light. But painting saved me. You're saving yourself. Too. Her words echoed Eleanor's, reinforcing my path. Back home, Laura reported the Disney trip's progress. Rebecca's posts framing me as the villain. They're telling friends you're having a breakdown. She texted, adding screenshots. The kids' faces, beaming in Disney photos, tugged at my heart. But I saw the manipulation, Rebecca using them as pawns. I responded to Laura. I'm okay. Just need space. Keeping my focus on Greece. Athens's streets, alive with markets and murals, taught me resilience, climbing like a Betis hill. I overlooked the city, its sprawl a testament to endurance. I'm stronger than their guilt, I whispered, the wind carrying my words. My health, strained by stress, began to mend. Insomnia eased, the Mediterranean's rhythm lulling me to sleep. Headaches faded, replaced by clarity. I ran along the Athens Riviera, the sea's sparkle sinking with my stride. Each step a reclaiming of my body. Journaling became a ritual, pages filling with insights. I've spent my life pleasing others, but here, I'm enough. Nikos, guiding me through the National Archaeological Museum, shared stories of Greek gods defying fate. You're like Athena, he teased, wise and fierce. His kindness, Lena's camaraderie, and Eleanor's wisdom wove a new support network, one that honored my choice. As I prepared to leave Athens for Santorini, I felt a shift, a shedding of the Allison who bent to family demands. The family silence, punctuated by Rebecca's barbs, was a storm I was weathering. Standing in Plaka's twilight, the Acropolis aglow, I touched my journal, its pages a map of my courage. Greece was more than a trip, it was a rebirth, a chance to rewrite my story. The road ahead Santorini's cliffs, Crete's shores promised more. But this first step, taken against all odds, was mine alone, a freedom I'd never surrender. Santorini's cliffs, bathed in the Mediterranean's azure glow, marked a new verse in my journey at 34, a chapter where I, Allison, began to see myself not as the sister who always caved, but as a woman worthy of her dreams. After Athens' ancient embrace, I arrived on this island, its whitewashed villages and sunset vistas, a stark contrast to the family conflict that had erupted over my refusal to cancel this Greece trip for my sister Rebecca's Disney World vacation. My parents, Barbara and Richard, had backed her. Their pressure texts, calls, and intervention, and Rebecca's scathing social media posts pushing me, the childless Allison, to yield. But I'd chosen myself, setting boundaries that held firm despite their disapproval. In Santorini, thousands of miles from Chicago's demands, I found a courage that shone as brightly as the island's light. I'd love to hear about a place that changed you as I share how Santorini rewove my heart. Leaving Athens, I boarded a ferry, the Aegean Sea's waves cradling my anticipation. Santorini's caldera emerged like a painting white villages perched on volcanic cliffs, blue domes gleaming under a cloudless sky. My hotel, a cave house in Oia, had a terrace overlooking the sea, its infinity pool mirroring the horizon. Dropping my bags, I stepped into Oia's narrow lanes, bougainvillea cascading over walls, the air scented with thyme and salt. The island's beauty was a balm, easing the sting of my family's silence. Their narrative painted in Rebecca's posts, casting me as the selfish aunt who abandoned her nieces and nephew. My first morning, I joined a sunrise tour. The group, small and warm, Sophia, a Canadian photographer in her 40s, became an instant ally, her camera capturing Oia's pastel dawn. Over coffee at a cliffside cafe, we shared stories. My family cut me off when I chose photography over nursing, she said, her auburn hair catching the light. They called me selfish, but I found my soul here. Her words echoed my own struggle, a mirror to my defiance. We spent days exploring Fira's bustling markets, Akrotiri's ancient ruins, our laughter, a defiance of the guilt I'd carried. You're not running from family, Sophia said, snapping my photo by a blue-domed church. You're running toward yourself. Santorini's magic deepened my transformation. I swam in Amudi Bay, the water's clarity revealing a world of fish. My body lighter with each stroke. At a taverna in Imerovigli, I tasted fava beans and crisp Assyrtiko wine, locals teaching me to dance sirtaki under string lights. Journaling on my terrace. I wrote, "I'm not the Allison who bends. I'm enough." The island's resilience rebuilt after earthquakes mirrored my own. Each sunset a reminder to stand firm. My health, battered by Chicago's stress, continued to mend. Insomnia faded, replaced by dreams of olive groves, and headaches dissolved in the sea's rhythm. Laura's updates, discreetly sent, kept my family's shadow near. Rebecca's Disney posts were relentless. Complete family joy at Epcot. And with her kids in matching Mickey shirts, captioned, "Blessed by those who choose us." Mom commented, "Some value islands over love." Laura texted, "They're telling friends you're unstable, but the kids miss you." The words stung, especially Emma's face in photos. But Sophia's perspective helped. They're weaponizing guilt. She said over sunset drinks in Oya, "Let them have Disney. You're building something real." I replied to Laura, "I'm okay. Just need this time." Keeping my focus on Santorini's light. Back in Chicago, my support network held me up. Samantha texted daily. Her humor a lifeline. "You're dancing with Greeks while they're stuck in theme park lines. Keep shining." Jessica sent workplace updates. My Greek campaign now a client favorite. Dr. Patel emailed affirmations. "Your worth isn't tied to their approval." I ran along Santorini's cliff paths. The caldera's expanse stretching below. Each step a reclaiming of my strength. A local shopkeeper, Maria, gifted me worry beads after I shared my story over tea. "For peace," she said, her smile warm, and I clutched them. A talisman against doubt. New moments shaped me. At a pottery workshop in Fira, I molded clay with Sophia, our hands shaping vases as we talked of freedom. "My family came around," she said, but only after I stood firm. Her story gave me hope. A vision of reconciliation on my terms. I sailed to Nea Kameni, the volcano's black sands warm underfoot. Its raw power a metaphor for my resolve. Dining alone no longer felt lonely. At a Thera restaurant, I savored grilled octopus, striking up conversations with travelers, a German couple, a Japanese solo adventurer, my confidence blooming. The family's narrative, though, lingered. Laura forwarded a post from Rebecca. "Kids learning who really loves them at Magic Kingdom." Aunt Bethany commented, "Praying for Allison's heart." The manipulation using Emma, Jake, and Lily as pawns cut deep. But Santorini's perspective dulled its edge. Standing on a cliff at sunset, the sky ablaze. I journaled, "Their story doesn't define me. I'm writing my own." The Parthenon's lessons of endurance, Sophia's courage, and Maria's kindness wove a new truth. I was not the villain, but a woman claiming her worth. My body reflected this shift. Running Fira's paths, I felt stronger, my breath steady. The Mediterranean's breeze a partner. Insomnia, once a nightly foe, was gone, my sleep deep under Oya's stars. I wrote to Dr. Patel, "I'm healing, not just from stress, but from a life of giving too much." Her reply, "You're rediscovering Allison," was a gift. Samantha's call, her voice crackling over Wi-Fi, brought Chicago closer. "You sound alive," she said. "Don't let them dim that." Jessica's email about a promotion offer, a creative VP role, added to my momentum. A reminder of my value beyond family roles. As I prepared for Crete, Santorini's lessons anchored me. I danced at a taverna's live music night, locals cheering as I joined their circle, my laughter free. Sophia and I exchanged contacts, promising to meet again. "You're a warrior," she said, hugging me at the ferry port. Maria's worry beads clicked in my pocket. A steady rhythm. Laura's final update before I left Santorini showed Rebecca's posts softening. A photo of Emma with a caption, "Missing Aunt Allison, but loving Disney." It was small, but a crack in their armor, a hint of change, boarding the ferry to Crete. Santorini's cliffs fading. I felt a quiet power. My family's silence, punctuated by their social media barbs, was a storm I'd outrun. Chicago's skyline, my apartment's demands, felt distant. Here, I was Allison Bold, whole, free. The Aegean stretched before me, Crete's promise ahead, and I touched my journal, its pages thick with courage. Greece was reshaping me, not just a vacation, but a rebirth. Each step a defiance of the chains I'd broken. Each moment a step toward a self I was only beginning to know. Crete's rugged shores, where olive groves met the Mediterranean's endless blue, became the next chapter of my transformation at 34. A place where I, Allison, rooted myself in a strength I'd only begun to claim. After Athens' ancient wisdom and Santorini's sunlit courage, I arrived in Crete, its history and wild beauty a mirror to my own journey of defiance. My refusal to cancel this Greece trip for my sister Rebecca's Disney World vacation had sparked a family firestorm. My parents, Barbara and Richard, siding with her, their pressure through calls, an intervention, and Rebecca's social media attacks painting me as the selfish aunt. Yet, in Crete, thousands of miles from Chicago's expectations, I found a resilience as enduring as the island's Minoan ruins, a quiet power that whispered, "I was enough." I'd love to hear about a time you found strength in an unexpected place, as I share how Crete anchored my soul. The ferry from Santorini to Crete was a gentle crossing, the Aegean's waves rocking me into reflection. Arriving in Chania, I checked into a stone villa near the Venetian harbor, its balcony overlooking fishing boats bobbing under a pink dawn. Crete's air was earthy, scented with wild thyme and citrus. Its streets a blend of Ottoman arches and Greek vibrancy. After Santorini's ethereal glow, Crete felt grounded, its mountains and beaches a call to dig deeper into myself. My journal, now thick with Athens and Santorini's lessons, lay open, ready for Crete's truths, while my family's silence, punctuated by their online barbs, faded against the island's pulse. My first day, I explored the Palace of Knossos, its Minoan frescoes vivid with bulls and goddesses, a testament to a civilization that thrived 1,000 years ago. My guide, Giannis, a bearded archaeologist, shared myths of the Minotaur. His passion infectious. "Crete teaches endurance," he said, pointing to rebuilt walls. "It falls. It rises." His words resonated, echoing my own rebuilding. At a nearby cafe, I met Eleni, a Cretan weaver in her 60s, her hands calloused from decades at the loom. Over Rocky, she shared her story of leaving an arranged marriage, defying her village. "They called me mad," she said, her eyes bright. "But freedom is worth the fight." Her courage, like Sophia's in Santorini, bolstered mine, a reminder that standing alone could lead to belonging. Crete's landscapes nurtured me. I hiked Samaria Gorge, its 10-mile path winding through cliffs and wildflowers, my legs burning but my heart light. Swimming in Elaphonese's pink sand coves, I felt unburdened, the water washing away Chicago's stress. At a Rethymnon taverna, I savored tacos and lamb stew, locals inviting me to their table, their warmth a contrast to my family's chill. Journaling nightly, I wrote, Crete is teaching me to stand tall, not to please others. But for me, my health continued to heal, insomnia gone, headaches a memory. My runs along Chania's coast, syncing with the sea's rhythm. Each stride a claim to my body's strength. Laura's updates kept my family's shadow present. Rebecca's Disney posts persisted. Pure magic with my babies at Animal Kingdom. The captioned, "Family is who shows up." Mom's comment, "Some choose ruins over love." It and Laura texted, "They're still pushing the narrative. But Emma asked for you yesterday." The kids' absence hurt. But Elaine's advice at her weaving shop grounded me. "They use guilt like a net," she said, threading her loom. "Cut it with truth." I replied to Laura, "I miss them, but I'm staying strong." My focus on Crete's lessons. A softer post from Rebecca. Emma's art, inspired by Aunt Allison, hinted at a shift. Though I stayed cautious. Maria's worry beads from Santorini clicking in my pocket. Chicago's support network remained vital. Samantha's texts were a daily spark. "You're hiking gorges while they're dodging Florida rain. Keep ruling." Jessica emailed about my campaign's success. The client requesting a national rollout. Dr. Patel's affirmations arrived. "Your journey is yours alone." I joined a Cretan cooking class in Chania, kneading dough for Kalitsunia with locals, their laughter easing my loneliness. Eleni joined, her stories of resilience blending with the scent of honey and cheese. "You're like my younger self," she teased, breaking free. Her words, paired with Giannis's tales of Minoan strength, wove a tapestry of courage. New moments defined me. At a Heraklion market, I bought a ceramic bowl for Emma, its blue swirls matching her love for art. A gesture for when we'd reconnect. I visited Phaistos, its ancient disc a puzzle of lost language, its mystery urging me to trust my path. Running Crete's beaches, I felt invincible. The sea's roar drowning out doubt. A night of traditional lyra music in Rethymnon saw me dancing with strangers, my feet learning Cretan steps, my laughter a rebellion against my family's narrative. "You have a Greek soul," a musician said, and I smiled, feeling it true. The family's tactics, though, persisted. Laura forwarded a post from Rebecca, "Kids thriving despite missing someone." Aunt Bethany's comment, "Praying for Allison's return to reason." The manipulation leveraging the kids stung, but Crete's perspective softened it. Standing atop Knossos' ruins, I journaled, "I'm not their villain. I'm my own hero." Eleni's story, Sophia's defiance, and Giannis's wisdom reinforced this. My worth wasn't tied to their approval. A call from Samantha, her voice warm over Crete's Wi-Fi, solidified it. "You're glowing, even from here," she said. "They'll have to face the new you." My professional life gained momentum. Jessica's email confirmed my promotion to creative VP, a role I'd weigh upon return. Its demands balanced against my newfound freedom. Dr. Patel's journal prompt, "What does Allison want?" sparked clarity. A life where my needs mattered. I wrote, "I want joy, respect, myself, Crete's simplicity, its farmers' markets." Quiet beaches showed me this was possible. A chance encounter enriched my days. At a Chania bookstore, I met Theo, a Greek-American writer. His novel about family estrangement hitting close. "Boundaries are love," he said over coffee, "for yourself and them." His perspective, like Elaine's, was a gift. As I prepared to leave Crete for Chicago, I felt rooted. No longer the Allison who bent. My family's posts, softening yet manipulative, were a storm I'd weathered. Laura's final update showed Emma drawing a Greek island, captioned, "For Aunt Allison." And it was a crack in their narrative, a hope I held lightly. Boarding my flight. Crete's mountains fading. I clutched my journal. Its pages a map of resilience. Greece had rebuilt me. Not just a trip, but a reckoning. Each moment, a root sinking deeper into a self I'd fight for. No matter what awaited at home, returning to Chicago at 34. After 2 weeks in Greece's transformative embrace, Allison stepped into a city that felt both familiar and foreign, its skyline a sharp contrast to Crete's rugged shores. My dream trip, Athens's ruins, Santorini's cliffs, Crete's olive groves had been a rebellion against my family's demand to cancel for my sister Rebecca's Disney World vacation, a choice that sparked a firestorm of guilt trips, an intervention, and Rebecca's social media attacks. My parents, Barbara and Richard, had backed her, expecting me, the childless sister, to bend as always, but Greece had reshaped me, teaching me to value my own needs. And as I unpacked my souvenirs in my Lake Michigan high-rise, I faced a new challenge, holding those boundaries against a family determined to punish my defiance. I'd love to hear how you've rebuilt after a big change, as I share how I carved a new normal in Chicago's shadow. The flight from Crete landed at O'Hare under a gray May sky. Chicago's humidity a jolt after the Mediterranean's breeze. My apartment, with its sleek furniture and lake views, felt smaller, its silence heavy with my family's absence. No welcome home texts, no calls. Unpacking, I arranged Greek treasures, a Santorini vase, Crete's ceramic bowl for Emma, worry beads from Mariah, each a reminder of my courage. But my inbox held a sting. Wedding photos from a cousin's ceremony I wasn't invited to. A deliberate exclusion. Rebecca's Instagram message. Unblocked during travel. Cut deeper. Kids were crushed. You missed Disney. Mom's not sleeping. Thanks to you. Hope Greece was worth it. The silence from mom and dad was louder. A clear message. I was being disciplined. Work was a lifeline. At Vantage Agency, colleagues noticed my glow. Greece did wonders. My boss, Rachel, said, her office overlooking the Chicago River. My Greek-inspired campaign was a hit, and the creative VP offer awaited my decision. Its demands daunting but thrilling. Jessica, my colleague, joined me for lunch at a Loop Bistro, her support unwavering. They're icing you out, she said, referencing my family. But you're stronger now. Her own story-setting boundaries with her sister gave me perspective. It hurts, but it passes, she promised. I dove into work, pitching a new campaign inspired by Crete's resilience. My focus a shield against family drama. Samantha's Wicker Park Cafe became my haven. Her hugs a homecoming, over lattes. I shared Greece's lessons, Eleni's defiance, Sophia's courage, Theo's wisdom. You're a new Allison, she said, her eyes bright. Don't let them pull you back. She helped me strategize, mute family notifications, respond only to direct questions, avoid social media traps. Rebecca's latest post, Disney memories with true family, with mom's comment, some choose themselves, tested my resolve. But I followed Samantha's advice, staying silent. Laura's texts offered insight. They're still mad, but Emma keeps drawing you. The kids' love, though manipulated, was a tether I held lightly. Dr. Patel's sessions, now weekly, grounded me. In her Lakeview office, we unpacked the homecoming's chill. This is an extinction burst, she said, her voice calm. They're escalating because your boundaries threaten their control. We role-played responses to potential confrontations. I love you, but I need respect, and explored my guilt. You're not responsible for their happiness, she said, Journaling. I listed old patterns, canceling plans for Rebecca, ignoring my needs. No more. I wrote, Cretes C in my memory. Dr. Patel's prompt, what does home mean now? Sparked clarity. A life where I mattered. Reclaiming my routine was revolutionary. Sundays, once for family dinners, became mine. I strolled Lincoln Park's farmers market, buying figs and flowers. The city's pulse a new rhythm. Tuesday evenings were Samantha's dinner dates. Our talks at an Andersonville tapas bar, weaving Greece into Chicago. Thursdays. I enrolled in a photography class inspired by Sophia, my photos of Santorini earning praise. Weekends, once family-dominated, opened for exploration hiking at Starved Rock, browsing Pilsen's art galleries, running along Lakeshore Drive. The lake's waves echoed Crete's shores. My body strong, insomnia a distant memory. Family pressure persisted, subtle but sharp. Mom sent cryptic texts. Doctor's visit wasn't great. Stress doesn't help. When I called, concerned, she was vague, hinting my trip was to blame. Dad called about a family emergency, only to discuss my potential removal from their will. Actions have consequences, he said, his voice cold. Rebecca used the kids. Emma's voicemail heartbreaking. Are you mad at me? Aunt Allison, I reassured her. I love you. Always. But stayed firm. Dr. Patel's words guiding me. Don't fall into their traps. Aunt Bethany visited unannounced. Her concern a lecture. You're tearing the family apart. I held my ground. I'm here, but on my terms. A new apartment, in a vibrant Logan Square building, symbolized my shift. Moving in June, I painted walls a Santorini blue, hung Greek photos, and created a meditation nook with Maria's worry beads. The move wasn't just physical, it was a declaration of independence. Samantha helped unpack, her laughter filling the space. This is you, she said, admiring the bowl for Emma. Jessica joined for a housewarming. Her gift, a Chicago skyline print, a nod to my roots. Dr. Patel's sessions explored this transition. You're building a home for your soul, she said, and I nodded, feeling it true. Professional growth balanced personal challenges. Accepting the VP role, I negotiated flexible hours, prioritizing my health. My Crete campaign launched nationally, clients praising its authenticity. You're a star, Rachel said, but I valued my peace more. Socially, I reconnected with old friends Madison. My college roommate, now nearby, joined me for wine nights. Tyler's book club welcomed me. Their discussions a new community. Journaling became daily, capturing victories. Said no to a last-minute work request. Felt free. Greece's lessons. Eleni's defiance. Sophia's art lived in me, guiding each choice. Family dynamics showed faint cracks. Laura reported Rebecca's posts softening. Kids had a blast. Wish Allison could have seen. Mom's comment was neutral. Glad they're happy. Laura texted. They're cooling off, but still expect you to apologize. I didn't. Instead, sending Emma the ceramic bowl with a note. For your art. Love you. Her thank you call, unscripted, warmed me. It's so pretty. Aunt Allison. Rebecca's silence suggested discomfort, but I stayed steady, muting her notifications. Holiday planning loomed. Mom's July text about Thanksgiving hinted at inclusion, but with a jab, for those who want to join. I ignored it, focusing on my new life, a new connection. Michael, a photographer from my class, added light. His quiet confidence, seen in his Lake Michigan shots, drew me in. Over coffee in Logan Square, we talked boundaries. He distanced himself from a controlling family. It's hard, but worth it, he said, his smile warm. Our friendship, early but promising, was built on mutual respect, a contrast to family obligations. Running with him along the lake, I felt seen, not as the flexible sister, but as Allison whole. Enough. As summer deepened, I stood on my balcony, Chicago's skyline aglow, and reflected. Greece had given me more than memories, it had rewritten my story. My family's chill, though painful, was a chance to build anew. Laura's updates, Samantha's support, Dr. Patel's guidance, and Michael's presence were my anchors. Journaling. I wrote, I'm not their scapegoat. I'm my own home. The road ahead family tensions. A looming anniversary would test me. But Crete's roots held firm, a resilience I'd carry forward, no matter the storm. At 34, standing in a Chicago banquet hall under chandeliers' glow, Allison faced my family for the first time since my Greece trip, a journey that had redefined me against their demands to cancel for my sister Rebecca's Disney World vacation. My parents, Barbara and Richard, had backed her, their pressure guilt trips, an intervention, and Rebecca's social media attacks casting me as the selfish sister. Greece's lessons, Athens' wisdom, Santorini's courage, Crete's resilience had fortified my boundaries, and my new life in Chicago, with its Logan Square apartment and supportive circle, anchored me. Now, at their 35th anniversary celebration, I wasn't capitulating, but seizing a chance to redefine our family on terms of mutual respect. This confrontation, years in the making, would test my resolve but spark a fragile hope for healing. I'd love to hear about a time you faced a family reckoning as I share how I stepped into the fire. The invitation arrived in July. An embossed card with Mom's handwritten note. Your presence would mean everything. Your absence will be noted. Laura's call clarified its weight. Mom says this is your chance to rejoin the family, or they'll see it as your final choice. The ultimatum stung, but Greece had taught me that some ruins can't be restored, only reimagined. I decided to attend, not to appease, but to assert my new self. Dr. Patel's session prepared me. Her Lakeview office, a calm harbor. You're not responsible for their emotions, she said. Communicate your boundaries clearly. We practiced responses. I'm here to celebrate, not revisit conflicts. She suggested an exit strategy text Samantha for a fake emergency if tensions rose. The week before, I strategized. Michael, my photography class friend, offered to join, his steady presence tempting. I need to do this alone. I told him over coffee in Logan Square, but knowing you're there after means everything. Samantha helped plan, suggesting I wear something from Greece, a navy Santorini dress for strength. I paired it with Grandma Helen's pearl earrings, a nod to family amid my resolve. Running along Lakeshore Drive, Chicago's skyline sharp, I practiced Dr. Patel's breathing exercises. Crete's sea in my mind. You faced Knossos' ruins, I whispered. You can face them. The upscale River North restaurant buzzed with relatives, its private dining room aglow with candles. Entering, I felt eyes turn Mom in silver, her smile tight. Rebecca with champagne. Turning away, Dad by the bar, his face unreadable. The tension was a living thing, but Emma's hug broke it, her arms around me. Aunt Allison, did you bring my bowl? She asked, her eyes bright. It's at home. For next time, I promised. Her warmth a reminder of why I fought for this family. I navigated the room, greeting cousins Laura and Daniel. Their neutrality, a safe harbor. Aunt Bethany's glare was icy. But I smiled, focusing on small talk work, whether avoiding the rift. Halfway through dinner, as servers cleared plates, Dad approached. A word. "Allison," he said, leading me to an alcove. Bracing for a lecture, I was stunned by his opening. "You look well. Greece was good for you." He paused, studying his hands. "We've been unfair, not just about the trip, but for years. Rebecca's louder, and you're so capable we took advantage." His admission, a crack in his armor, left me speechless. Mom joined, her expression wary. "Is everything okay?" she asked. Dad nodded. "I'm apologizing." Mom stiffened, then spoke carefully. "We never meant to make you feel less, but family means compromise." Finding my voice, I said, "That's the problem. Mom, I've always compromised, canceled plans, ignored my needs. When has Rebecca adjusted for me?" My tone was calm. "Dr. Patel's training steadying me. I love you, but I need to be an equal, not an accessory to Rebecca's life or a babysitter because I'm childless." Mom started to protest, then paused, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. Dad sighed. "We haven't been fair. I'm sorry for the will threat that was wrong." Mom nodded slowly. "We've taken you for granted. It won't change overnight, but we'll try." A sharp breath interrupted us. Rebecca stood at the alcove's entrance, her face flushed. "So, I'm the villain now?" she demanded, stepping closer. "You're turning them against me." Dad's voice was firm. "No one's against anyone. We're admitting we've wronged Allison." Rebecca turned to me, tears brimming. "You have no idea what it's like, kids. Divorce. No freedom. I'd kill for your life. When I saw your Greece plans, I snapped. I was jealous. Her raw honesty disarmed me, revealing a sister I hadn't seen vulnerable, not manipulative. We moved to a quiet corner table, away from prying eyes. For the first time, Rebecca and I talked openly our envies, our roles, the parental favor she'd leaned into. "I've envied your freedom," she admitted, wiping tears. "But I never thought you might envy my kids." "My purpose," I nodded. "I do. Sometimes their love, your clarity. But our paths are different, and neither should erase the other." Dad and Mom joined, their presence tentative. "What now?" Mom asked as dessert arrived. "We try something new," I said. "Respect my choices, even when they don't align. Maybe family therapy to build better patterns." To my surprise, they agreed, their sincerity fragile but real. The party wound down, and I drove home under Chicago's neon glow, feeling neither victorious nor defeated, but cautiously hopeful. The conversation, raw and overdue, had planted seeds for change. Samantha met me at my apartment, her hug grounding. "You did it," she said, pouring wine. "You faced them as the new Allison." Journaling. I wrote, "Tonight wasn't perfect, but it was honest. Crete's roots held." Michael's text, "How'd it go?" It warmed me. His support a quiet strength. Laura's update confirmed the shift. Rebecca's quiet. But Mom and Dad seem reflective. Post-party, small changes emerged. Mom called weekly, respecting my schedule. "Call when you can. No pressure." Dad asked about my VP role, listening to my answers. At first, Rebecca struggled, her texts occasionally sharp. "Can you watch Emma Saturday?" But when I declined, citing plans, she backed off. "Okay." Another time, extended family adjusted unevenly. Aunt Bethany remained cold, but cousins Laura and Daniel reached out, inspired by my stand. Emma's art, sent via Rebecca, showed a Greek island with my name, a bridge between us. My life flourished. The VP role challenged me, but I thrived, my campaigns earning industry buzz. Photography class with Michael deepened our bond. Our lakefront shoots sparking more than friendship. Samantha's dinners, Jessica's support, and Tyler's book club wove a community that honored my growth. Running Lakeshore Drive. I felt Crete's resilience, my health robust, my heart open. Dr. Patel's sessions explored this hope. You're rewriting the family script, she said. It's messy, but it's yours. As fall neared, I proposed a lake house weekend. My terms clear. October. No pressure. Respect everyone's space. Their acceptance, Rebecca offering childcare for adult time, was a sign of progress. Journaling on my balcony. Chicago's skyline twinkling. I reflected. Greece had sparked a revolution. Not just in me, but in us. The anniversary had been a fire, but from its ashes, a new family might rise, one where I was seen, not as the flexible sister, but as Allison whole, equal, free. At 34, standing on the porch of a Wisconsin lake house, the autumn leaves ablaze against a crisp October sky, Allison, saw the fruits of a journey that began with a defiant trip to Greece. My refusal to cancel that dream vacation for my sister Rebecca's Disney World trip had ignited a family conflict with my parents, Barbara and Richard, pressuring me, the childless, flexible sister, to yield through guilt, interventions, and social media attacks. Greece, Athens' ruins, Santorini's cliffs, Crete's shores had rebuilt me, teaching me to set boundaries and value my worth. The confrontation at my parents' 35th anniversary had sparked reconciliation. And now, this lake house weekend was a chance to nurture a family dynamic rooted in respect, not obligation. As I watched Emma chase leaves, I felt a quiet triumph. I'd fought for myself and found a way back to them. I'd love to hear how you've rebuilt family ties as I share how we forged a new beginning. Planning the weekend was my idea, proposed after the anniversary's raw honesty. October. A lake house. I texted Mom, Dad, and Rebecca. Equal footing. No pressure. Their agreement, Rebecca offering to handle kids' activities. Mom suggesting a shared menu, was a sign of change. I chose a sprawling cabin on Lake Geneva, its wraparound porch and stone fireplace promising warmth. Samantha helped me pack, her Logan Square visit filled with laughter. You're not just hosting, she said, folding my Crete scarf. You're rewriting the rules. Dr. Patel's session prepped me, her Lakeview office a haven. Expect tension, she said, but trust your voice. We reviewed boundaries. I'll engage, but not at my expense. Arriving Friday, Chicago's skyline a memory. I found the lake house aglow, the air crisp with pine. Emma, Jake, and Lily ran to me, their hugs erasing months of distance. Aunt Allison, look at my island art, Emma said, showing a sketch inspired by my Greek stories. Rebecca, unloading groceries, offered a tentative smile. Thanks for this, she said, her tone softer. Mom and Dad arrived, their embrace cautious but warm. It's good to be together, Dad said, his eyes holding mine. Cousins Laura and Daniel joined, their presence a buffer, while Aunt Bethany declined, her absence a silent protest. The smaller group felt right, a core family ready to try. Saturday dawned golden, the lake sparkling. I suggested a morning hike, the kids leading through oak trails, their chatter a melody. Rebecca walked beside me, our steps syncing for the first time in years. I was wrong, she said quietly. Kicking leaves, I leaned into Mom and Dad's favor, used the kids to guilt you. I'm sorry. Her apology, unprompted, was a weight lifted. I forgive you, I said. But we need balance. My life matters too, She nodded. I'm learning that. Later, by the lake, Mom shared her own regret. We put too much on you. Allison, we're trying to see you, not just your role. Dad added, I'm proud of your strength, even if it shook us. Their words, imperfect but sincere, were a bridge. Activities fostered connection. We cooked together. My Cretan Kalatsunia recipe blending with Mom's lasagna. The kitchen alive with laughter. Emma and I painted by the dock. Her island sketches, now including our family. I missed you, she said. Paint on her nose. And I hugged her. I'm here now. Jake and Lily roped me into a board game. Their giggles healing old wounds. Rebecca watched, her eyes softer, and joined. Her competitive streak sparking fun, not rivalry. Dad shared stories of his youth, a rare vulnerability. While Mom listened, her hand on his, Laura whispered, This feels new, and I nodded. Greece's lessons. Resilience, truth guiding us. Tension surfaced. As Dr. Patel predicted, Saturday night. By the fireplace, Rebecca suggested I babysit soon, her tone casual but presumptuous. I have plans, I said calmly, but let's schedule something fair. Her face tightened, but Mom intervened. She's right. Rebecca, we respect her time. The moment passed. A small victory. Later, Dad referenced Disney, hinting at my absence. Let's focus on now, I said. Dr. Patel's training steady. I'm here, and that's enough. He nodded. A lesson learned. These exchanges, though sharp, showed progress of family bending, not breaking. Sunday's kayaking sealed our bond. Paddling with Rebecca. The lake's rhythm eased us. I envied your freedom, she admitted. But I see it's not free, it's hard-won. I shared my burnout, my health scares, Greece's necessity. I needed to save myself, I said, and she nodded. I get it now. Back on shore, Mom and Dad joined a group photo. Emma's arm around me, the kids' laughter a chorus. Journaling that night, I wrote, We're not perfect, but we're trying. Crete's roots. Santorini's light, they're in me, in us. Chicago welcomed me back. Its skyline a promise. My VP role thrived. My campaigns earning awards. But I prioritized balance weekend hikes. Photography with Michael, now my partner. His quiet strength a gift. Samantha's dinners. Jessica's support. And Tyler's book club enriched my circle. While Dr. Patel's sessions, now monthly, celebrated my growth. You've built a life that honors you, she said, and I smiled, feeling it true, running Lakeshore Drive. I carried Grease Eleni's defiance, Sophia's art, Maria's beads, each step a testament to resilience. Family dynamics evolved. Thanksgiving at Mom's was balanced. I arrived late, left early. My boundaries respected. Rebecca asked for input on Emma's art classes, valuing my perspective. Dad called about my work, genuinely curious, while Mom shared health updates without guilt. Social media reflected this shift. Rebecca's post, grateful for family, all of us. Bats included my tagged Greece photo, a public olive branch, Emma's Christmas gift, a painted Greek vase. Echoed my journey, her note reading. For my hero, Aunt Allison. Laura's text confirmed the change. They're different now. Because of you. My life expanded. Michael and I planned a spring trip. Portugal. Our choice mutual. A far cry from family demands. I mentored at work, inspired by Jessica's support, helping younger creatives find their voice. A new hobby, pottery, echoed Santorini's clay. My hands shaping bowls for friends. Journaling. I reflected. Greece was my spark. But Chicago is my fire. I'm Allison Hole. Scene. Free. Dr. Patel's final prompt, what's next? Drew a vision. A life of joy, respect, and family on equal terms. As winter loomed, I stood on my balcony, Chicago's lights twinkling, and felt peace. The lake house had been a rebirth, not just for me, but for us, a family learning to see each other. Greece had taught me to stand, to heal, to love myself first. My family, once a weight, was now a choice, their growth a mirror to mine. Touching Emma's vase, I whispered, we made it. The road ahead knew travels, deeper bonds stretched wide, a horizon I'd shaped, a life I'd claimed, forever changed by a dream I refused to let go.